Hi, this is Ron from High-Tech Legion, and this is an Antec LanBoy Air mid-tower case. At the front of the box, we can see an exploded view of the LanBoy Air, and we can see that nearly every component is modular and can be customized to the user's needs. It comes in two other colors. This one is the LanBoy Air Blue, also comes in LanBoy Air Yellow and Red. On the side of the box, we can see the diagram of the airflow inside the Antec LanBoy Air case. All the default fans are set as an intake fan, and the Antec LanBoy Air uses positive air pressure to push hot air out while keeping the dust away from the components. At the back of the box, we can see all the major features listed for the Antec LanBoy Air case, including three different mount orientations for the optical and the hard drives, USB 3 compatible front panel, built-in handles, support for VGA cards up to 16 inches long, support for 2.5-inch SSD drives, modular motherboard tray and PSU mounts, built-in toolbox, and positive air pressure cooling. Now let's look at inside the box and see what the case looks like. The case itself is wrapped in plastic with a pair of foam on each side. I'm going to remove that. And at the top, the Antec LanBoy Air comes with the user manual, and there are actually 4 cable management ties inside already. Remove those and take a closer look at the documentation. This first sheet is an Antec product survey, and this one is shows how to install a 2.5-inch drive inside the Antec LanBoy Air. And at the back of it is USB 3.0, which shows where to route the long front panel cable to connect the front all the way to the back of the motherboard to connect it. And of course, finally, this is the user manual itself. Oh, it's one more sheet. Talks about the LanBoy Air grounding. Starting with the front panel from the top, we can see that there are 2 buttons, one on each side. The larger one of the 2 is the power button, and the one on the left is the reset button. And right beside the reset button there are 2 indicator lights, and right at the middle there are 2 USB 2.0 ports, a single USB 3.0 port which is designated by the blue color, and 2 audio jacks, one for microphone and one for a headphone. There is space for up to 3 5.25-inch drive devices, and there are 2 fans, 120mm intake fans in the front that come with their own fan control knob right at the lower right corner. As you can see, there are pilot holes all around the front panel. That means the 5.25-inch drive base and the fans can be moved around, so in case you want to mount your optical drive, for example, right at the bottom and move the fans on top, you could do that. All the front bay covers require the use of a screwdriver to remove, including the very bottom one, which is actually a small toolbox to house the accessories. Has all the screws, and this one is labeled as the mounting kit for the 2.5 or SSD drive devices to mount at the bottom of the Antec LanBoy Air. The Antec LanBoy Air case's side panel is perforated and meshed so that air will pass through easily. The side panels can be removed and opened by removing thumb screws, a total of 1 for this front door, which opens up and can be removed completely. And the side panel has a total of 6, 3 long ones in the front and 3 at the rear. There is also an option, also comes pre-installed already with 220mm intake fans right on the side, but there is also option to install 2 more on the top And even this side panel right here, you can install three additional ones. And remove it and see it is a 4-pin Antec 2-speed fan. Just a speed control right there. Above the 120mm fan, there is a hole cut out for routing cables from inside to connect outside, maybe a USB 3 cable, or if you want to install a fan from the top, you can route the cables all the way inside and connect it to the power supply. So you can see this 120mm intake fan comes with its own fan control, 2-speed setting from low to high, and there's also an option here to put another one in case you mount a fan from the top. You can route the fan controls and connect it to this space right here since it's not being used currently. The Antec LanBoy Air supports up to 8 PCI devices. The last one at the bottom, it has a pre-cut out hole which serves as either the same one as the top, which you can use as a routing USB 3 cable connected to the back of the motherboard. And to the right of it, you can see there are 2 pre-cut and grommeted water cooling holes. At the bottom, we can see the power supply cage. It is by default it's located at the bottom, but you can also mount it at the top. It is held in place by a single thumb screw, so simply remove that and pull it out when you need to install a power supply. The entire back panel is actually removable. Simply remove the screws from the corner. There are 4 total, and simply slide out of place. By removing a single screw at the back, you can slide the motherboard tray out so that you can install the motherboard. The right side panel is identical to the left side panel and is also removable by taking out all the thumb screws. 6 in total for this large panel. And there is only a single one for the door, which is also removable. Simply force it all the way out and then pull. At the top of the Antec LanBoy Air, there are 2 fold-out handles which are quite sturdy, and there's also space to mount a radiator, water cooling radiator, and 2 120mm intake fans. To remove the motherboard tray rail, simply unscrew 1 screw from each side and pull out of place. You can then move it to the bottom. If you wish to mount the power supply at the top, you need to just mount it at a lower area. Screw in place and then you're ready to go. To remove the power supply mounting base rail, simply remove the screws, 2 at the front and 2 at the rear, and you can just pull it out completely. These hard drive mounting guides can be removed by unscrewing 2 screws on each one of them. So there will be a total of 2 for each. So for each drive there will be 2, 4, 6, 8 total. To remove the 5 1/4 inch drive rails, simply loosen the screws on one side and then just pull out. As you can see, the Antec LanBoy Air can be completely stripped out of its major components.